Thank you for allowing me the time today. My name is Tim Collins from Wells Fargo. We are the crowdsourcing team, and we have a very diverse team back here. We have all 5 continents represented. We try to get somebody from Antarctica, anybody here, from many major banks as well as both lenders and consultants. And so we have an idea that we think, we explored a wide range of ideas, but this is the idea that we landed on. We think it's a really good one. So what we are proposing is creating a pool of information that will help to bridge the trust gap that happens in many transactions. And so this trust information, the working medium that we're calling is the T-score, will really help to reduce risk that happens in many transactions. Banks potentially can use this. It can be used in B2B transactions as well as peer-to-peer. We think that there are many applications for this, and we think when you add it all up, that this idea can generate billions in additional revenue worldwide. That's a bold claim, so let me take you through the details on this. So, first thing here, I will point right here is, this is a cloud that is managed by Swift. At the heart of it is bank information. Bank information is something that, frankly, is not captured in many of the, for example, credit rating indices right now. They capture credit information, but they don't capture all the transactions that happen as far as your bill pay, your rent payments, your income, all of those things that are captured here. And frankly, there's not a lot of organizations that can access that other than a secure organization like Swift. So we think that Swift is the ideal partner to host this cloud. This is the heart of the concept, but we think we can also pull in various, and this will vary a little bit by country because there's different privacy laws, there's different regulatory environment, but pull in things like, just make sure you can see this, the social media. We know that there's lots of resources out there that mine social media. There's vendors like Radiant 6 and Digital Technologies and all those kind of things, and 1,000 VC-funded startups. And so, okay. And we know that in many cases, human resources are, we go on YouTube, we go on Facebook, we go on MySpace, and we check our employees, and we don't hire people to do stupid things. So why can't banks do that as well, both from a corporate side and as well as on the small business and in personal side as well. In addition, and again, this would vary by region, you could also have plugins that feed in additional information. In some countries, credit reporting agencies, microcredit in some countries where microcredit is a huge proportion of the economy there. So there's a lot of information that ultimately can be pulled in here. So this is a cloud that ultimately creates an API. That API is something that will vary by country, or would be utilized by country. The API will be the same, but what would happen, how it will be used in the United States will be very different than how it might be used in Egypt or in India, because there's different privacy regulations. There has to be some level of standardization, and that's where I think Swift comes in as far as helping to develop those standards so you can utilize that across country. Now let me tell you some of the uses for this so we understand the magnitude of this. Here's one example that was brought up on a group. This is a real-world example. We have a U.S. bank and a U.S. business that is doing trade in India. This U.S. business does 1 million transactions in a year. Okay? The way that they verify that they can work with that trader is that they have that company fax their bank account statement at the beginning of the year. All right? And to make sure that they have the amount of money that is in their account. Well, you know that bank account statement is obsolete the minute it gets faxed. And so there's risk. Even though they're trying to manage risk, there's still risk here. And having something like a T-score here will help you manage that risk. And banks will pay for that, or customers will pay for that. In this case, 1 million transactions, we think that you could generate $10 from each transaction. $5 here and $5 here. That's $10 million, one transaction, one bank. There's 200 countries, there's a big opportunity there. We also think that there's other applications over here. This is one concept was brought up by landlords trying to rent to tenants. Typically they pull a credit rating. The credit rating tells you whether you pay the bank. It doesn't tell you whether you pay the landlord. so in many cases, the credit reports are not necessarily useful to landlords. This is my personal situation where I bought a new car, I sold my old car on Craigslist. First person didn't show up after we agreed on a deal. Second person, you can tell the distrust because I had to produce all of my maintenance records and he had to have a cashier's check. It was a very painful process, and having something like a trust index could make that a much more seamless process. In economies where microcredit is a huge proportion of the banking world, utilizing microcredit information, what happens is if I have a great history in microcredit and I try to apply for a traditional bank loan, this never gets counted. So banks include the price for the risk, and they'll get a 35% interest rate, which is untenable. But if you have information that banks can price more appropriately because they know that they have a good microcredit history, maybe they get a 10% rate. Other idea is cross-country. If I got a great reputation in the UK, and I went to open up an account or a business in the Philippines or China, I can potentially use this cross-border as well to transfer my reputation as well. So we have all this API, multiple uses. Obviously, it could be active in mobile, online, corporate bank. There's a lot of different possibilities here. Who are our competitors? Many may say credit ratings, but frankly, many of these situations here are not situations where you would pull a credit report. So credit report is a different world. We're actually going into a new space here, a void where there's a customer need. And we also think that the other benefit is that we have a customer base where we have SWIFT banks in 209 countries. If they adopt this, it will be broadly distributed, and it's something that the customer really doesn't have to do anything. This is something that is all easily available in whole, it's aggregated, and it's very easy for the customer. They can just access it when they frankly need it. So we think it's a great opportunity, and as I said, I think it's a $1 billion opportunity. So with that, Chris, any other points?
I don't think I've got anything really much to add except to say that the big difference is what Tim alluded to at the end, which is that if you look at the two preceding teams, and there's a lot of correlations, I think, between what we're saying. The difference is that the two other teams, I guess, are saying the user provides information. What we're really saying is that Swift acts as a gargantuan spider bot and bringing all this in, particularly this behavioural moral hazard information that